Welcome to the James Beard Foundation's Taste America, presented by Capital One, in association with American Airlines, the official airline of the James Beard Foundation. Our premier sponsors are Deloitte and Rabbit Hole Distillery. Our supporting sponsor is Kerrygold USA. Our patron sponsors are Bono USA Inc., Choose Chicago, and McCormick. Additional support for Taste America is provided by Verterra Dinnerware. And our founding partner is Bowen & Company. Our official broadcast partner is Intersport.
Open for Good is the James Beard Foundation's multi-year campaign to support independent restaurants get through this crisis, come back better, stronger, more equitably, and ultimately thrive in the long term. Open for Good comprises a whole series of programs and initiatives, from vital critical resource to direct financial assistance to advocacy and lobbying. And going forward, we'll also be using the James Beard House to support emerging talent in support of the new and better industry.
The James Beard Foundation has shown their commitment to help the industry stay open for good by creating the Black and Indigenous Investment Fund, by creating more programs for women in leadership, and by using their platform to help legislation support restaurants.
Right now, it's so important that people support restaurants, because what's amazing is less than 10 cents out of every dollar stays in the restaurant, and all the other 90 cents goes out into the economy, into the labor force, into the people who are producing the seafood, the meat, the cheese, the dairy. It's an amazing boost for the economy. So not only are you saving the important social fabric of our communities, which are our restaurants, you're also really supporting the community in general.
Independent restaurants have been hit profoundly hard this last year. For many, this has been devastating, and they continue to really feel the pain of this and continue to be in survival mode. I think there are great shoots of green hope at the moment, as we just seen this last federal relief package, some direct provision for restaurants. And as the vaccination rolls out and the seasons warm up, we can see things moving in the right direction, but they continue to need help. They need financial help, and they need support from their local communities.
I think the one thing that last year showed me is how important we are. Independent restaurants in particular. Our community has come out to support. I've learned that we're not going anywhere. Everybody can't wait to get back together. We can't wait to have our events. We really miss the human touch and the humanity that's created in the restaurant environment.
I think we have an opportunity to make really big changes in the way we treat our staff, how they get benefited. We have an opportunity to really become a true profession. And for me, a cook who started 40 years ago, that's really exciting.
Let's keep restaurants open for good.
Let's keep restaurants open for good.
So let's keep restaurants open for good.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Taste America, presented by Capital One. I am Andrew Zimmern, and I'm delighted to be your host this evening. Thank you for joining us for dinner tonight. We just heard from James Beard Foundation CEO Claire Reichenbach and chefs, restaurateurs, and James Beard Foundation trustees Tanya Holland and Mary Sue Milliken. And their message is so important. We know that you're here because you love independent restaurants. Well, the feeling's mutual. We love our customers, and it means so much to know that you're standing by us. Unity is a big word these days, but I believe that together we do have the power to keep restaurants open for good. So for the next hour or so, we're going to bring you enlightening, entertaining encounters with our chefs and some very special guests. We've also planned a bit of interactive fun and games to enjoy while you dine, and dine you will. On the menus for this national virtual community dinner are meals from 12 unique places to eat in 10 different cities across America. Honestly, I don't know how anyone will get through this without a severe case of plate envy. People in San Francisco will wish they could grab an appetizer in Chicago, and folks in Chicago will want to head to San Francisco for seconds on dessert. I mean, seriously, this is like a whole new kind of FOMO that we're stirring up here. But never fear. There's something unique and delicious for everyone this evening. And if you're feeling inspired by what you taste, please don't forget to let the world know. hashtag open for good. That's hashtag open for good to help us get the message out. Okay, we've got hundreds of people across the country logged on now and counting. So without further ado, let's hear from our chefs about the delicious meals they've made for you tonight.
So for Taste America, Spuntino will be cooking Coniglio Canaglio, which is confit rabbit leg on top of our house-made saffron cavatelli and an Indian garlic pickle sauce.
We're doing a pork belly lechon with a black truffle dinuguan wild rice and then our roasted sauce.
We're serving a Sullivan County house-cured duck breast with a pomegranate gastrique.
We're gonna have 3 different entrees, a braised lamb neck that will be finished on the grill, chicken thigh that will also be grilled, and then an Iraqi-style short rib.
Today I'm cooking a Moroccan seafood stew of shrimp, halibut, and scallops.
I have a poula rouge, a heritage chicken with a mushroom barlotto, some truffle dew, and some beautiful seared mushrooms.
Creating a half lobster that's broiled with yuzu kosher, shiso, and kewpie mayo.
The main dish that everyone will be eating tonight is a filet from Culinary Farms with some caramelized sunchoke puree and some braised artichokes and some candied citrus from the farmer's market.
I'm doing a whole fried snapper, and it's done in the escabeche style, which is it's seen in a lot of different cultures, but this is the Caribbean version.
It's a house-made steam bun, duck confit, Peking duck sauce, crispy duck skin, and a slaw.
So what I'm cooking for Taste America are some of my favorite dishes from childhood, as well as from having spent time in Spain and Japan.
Umami, because it's a dish that you bite into it, your taste buds are gonna be all over the place for a second, and then when you dive into the okra pilau, you're like, whoa, what was that? It's a fun course.
If I had to describe that dish in one word, it would be Spuntino.
My main dish is very homey.
Fun.
Flavor bomb.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Delicious?
See what I mean? Too much good stuff. I want to eat it all. Well, tonight we're going to hear from our chefs about the restaurants and flavors they've got on their minds and the nearby and far-flung places they're planning to visit when the coast is clear. I've got 1 or 2 return trips of my own cooked up, but I have to tell you, what I'm pining for most these days is not a particular location or taste so much as a particular feeling. I can't wait to walk into a restaurant again and sit down to eat with a room full of strangers who aren't exactly strangers. That's because restaurants are a special kind of intimate community space where we see each other and see ourselves through each other. I've devoted my life to restaurants because they're places where our culture and society are celebrated and renewed night after night. So it gives me a lot of comfort that we're able to keep that feeling alive, albeit in a different style, by coming together this way. So wherever you are this evening in real life, you are supporting not just your local restaurants, but the entire ecosystem of independent restaurants. And for that, I thank you.
Hi, I'm Padma Lakshmi, and I'd love to talk to you about a little wine bar that's one of my favorite restaurants in my local area here in New York City. It's called Il Posto Accanto, and it's a beautiful little restaurant. They serve outside as well as inside. The husband and wife who run the restaurant are dear, dear friends now. I first discovered it when I moved into Alphabet City here in New York City. It was down the street from my house, and me and my daughter went there every weekend. On summer nights, they would have a local string quartet or a jazz trio that would play. In the winter, they always had something hot and ready to go right when you entered. They are the quintessential neighborhood restaurant. They have a great wine list, and they have been chugging along throughout this pandemic. But I want to make sure that restaurants like Il Posto Accanto all over this country manage to stay open and stay open for good. as food professionals, we have a unique opportunity to reach out and help whoever we can who's in need in this industry. And I encourage everybody to please go out and support your local restaurants as you can and keep them open for good.
Welcome to our home at Rabbit Hole. I hope one day you guys can come and visit us in person, but in the meanwhile, I'd love to be able to show you around a little bit of what we have here in our beautiful distillery. Where we are right now, we're standing actually in the manufacturing atrium. This is where all the magic happens, folks. You know, one of the things I love about American whiskey is that it has parallels to the culinary tradition in the sense that it all starts with the right ingredients. We have 5 different recipes of bourbon in production, and each one of them starts with a particular ingredient that is unique, allowing the finished product to be completely distinct. I'm standing right here in front of our fermentation tank. So once the grains are cooked, they go to these beautiful tanks where over the course of 3 days, they ferment and they get ready for distillation. Right here is our column still. This is a Vendome column still made by none other than our famed neighbors right down the street. It's a 65 feet tall column, 32 inches. And one of the things that's amazing about it, this is really an 18th, 19th century technology that still is relevant today. And simply what it does is that once the grains are converted to beer, which is about 5% alcohol, it goes through the still, and from there, the water and spent grain is separated from alcohol vapors that go all the way up to the column still and then get condensed to beautiful liquid before it goes into the barrels. Now, as you're seeing, I'm walking up stairs here, and this is one of the things that I want to highlight for you guys, because I designed this distillery in order to make sure that it showcases the art and science of whiskey making. I was so tired of seeing American whiskey languish, and I wanted to make sure that you're seeing the art and science and the beauty of distillation and what we do here in the States. Again, in the background, you're seeing the column still. But if you notice, this is a glass and steel structure. I am literally lifted off the manufacturing floor where you're able to have a bird's eye view of the entire operation. You're seeing now the fermentation tanks from a different vantage point and how you can smell, hear, and if you're actually here, you could even dip your hands in the fermentation tanks to taste the grain as it comes along. Now, we've reached an interesting point on the in the atrium where just to my right is that clear liquid that I was talking about coming off the still. And that clear liquid is essentially our whiskey right before it goes into the barrel to be aged. So let's keep going, because now the design of the distillery was such to make sure that we are not only able to give you an inclusive, full sensory experience, but to be able to allow you to see everything in full view. So no smoke and mirrors, complete transparency, showing the craft, the artisanship that goes into our products. You know, this is one of my favorite spots at the distillery because we are literally on top of the manufacturing floor. We're on the 3rd floor, right before we go to our tasting room overlook. And you're able to have a bird's eye view of the entire operation. Every time I'm up here, I get goosebumps because there's really nothing like it. And you're able to see things, see the entire process from different vantage points. That's absolutely spectacular. One other point, look up. If you look up, there are no fans here. The design of the distillery is such to make sure not only it's a functional facility, but it's an aesthetically pleasing experience. Because for us, just as our great chefs, it has to be not only tasty, but it has to look great. Now, here we are at the top of the still that I mentioned earlier. I'm just getting ready to go and have a tasting. I hope you guys can join us. I really look forward to being able to share with you a little bit more about the products and take you through the whiskeys that we offer here at Rabbit Hole.
By now, you will have had a chance to sample the delicious offerings that your local restaurants and tonight's beverage sponsors put together for you. So I want to take a second to underline how significant it is to have partners like Cave and Rabbit Hole Distillery behind Taste America and everything the James Beard Foundation is doing to help independent restaurants. Our sincere thanks to them. Now, a lot of people use this year to learn to do stuff in the kitchen they never had time to try before. We know a lot about sourdough and a good bit about decorating donuts. We grow fresh herbs on our windowsills, and we make our own kombucha. For myself, I can say with confidence that I am absolutely a better fisherman than I was a year ago. I can also say that I have perfected custard. I mean, my custard game was pretty strong before, but now I am a certified custard Jedi. If you mastered a culinary trick or treat, let us know in the chat. For the curious among you, and to give everyone a chance to pick up a little more knowledge and skill, let's turn to the collective wisdom of tonight's chefs.
Cooking rice in ovens. So my technique is I kind of bring all my water to a boil, add my rice, bring it back to a boil, and then take it off the heat and throw it right into a 350-degree oven. Take it out of the oven, let it steam, and then fluff it. It's perfect every time.
A lot of times you'll cut a lemon and then you'll either juice it. You always have problems with seeds. You put them through your hands, etc., etc. Really cool trick. You can actually take like a chopstick or something thereof and just puncture through one side of that lemon and squeeze it like it's in a little container and there's no seeds, and you can use it, you can store it.
I think the best trick ever in the kitchen is not to 100% follow a recipe.
I also like putting green onions in water in the window. I don't need to buy green onions for a long time that way. They continue to grow in the sun.
I put hot chilies in the freezer, and then when I want to use them, I grate them on a microplane grater.
To use the electric water kettle to heat up water, it's much quicker and it saves energy.
Throwing your pizza on the stone for like 5 minutes before you eat it, it's gonna like make the crust nice and crispy and also reheat it. So it's like almost like a restaurant experience.
I always hate peeling garlic at home because it's just messy. It just takes long. So ahead of time, just get a bunch of garlic and roast it, and then mash it up in puree and keep that around. And it'll save you a couple minutes there.
A good one that we do at the restaurants for peeling garlic is we put garlic between two bowls and shake it.
My favorite kitchen hack for home cooks is using dried ingredients in the pantry.
You know, it's not this great big secret, but you season all the way through. You season at all stages.
Whenever you're cooking meat, whether it's chicken or beef or pork, you want to make sure that you rest it. So once it comes out of the oven, let it just sit over to the side, forget about it for about 5 to 7 minutes, and then slice it or plate it.
I was born and raised in Mexico City, and my entire family is in Mexico City. We used to go to the same restaurant every Sunday with my parents, my sisters, my grandparents, and that made us feel rooted. 20 years later, I live in the US. I have 3 Mexican-American sons who were born here in the US. We have no Mexican family. And there's a restaurant called Two Amy's here in Washington, D.C. that has become part of our family and has become our weekend tradition. So every Sunday for 20 years now, we've gone there to have the same exact thing. We get the pizza, we get the meatballs, we get the mozzarella, we get the, oh my gosh, they have this incredible almond cake. They have so many good things, but we always end up ordering the same thing. We love the waiters, we love the staff, we love the owners. They know us by our names. They've seen my kids since they were very little, draw with crayons, and now they see them growing their beards. It is so important to keep restaurants open for good. Let's keep restaurants open for good. They're part of our family. And we are almost out of this tunnel, so let's hang in there.
There are so many restaurants, way too many to name, that I long to go back to, so I can't say enough times how important it is for everyone to make sure they're reaching out to elected officials to ask them to stabilize and secure independent restaurants. Our industry is the second largest employer in the country after the federal government, and as many as 50% of independent restaurants have shut down permanently. 1 in 4 Americans on unemployment is someone who used to work in a restaurant. That's a tough thing to wrap your head around already. But there's another aspect of this situation that doesn't get enough attention, not by half. When we talk about restaurants shutting down and workers on the brink, it's vitally important to remember that women workers and women-owned businesses have been hit especially hard by COVID-19. March is Women's History Month, but what I'm talking about is true in all 12 of the months, not just March. Research shows us that women rely on tips more often than men, and while caring for children and elderly parents. Restaurants that are women-owned have a much tougher time reopening because they have less capital, less access to capital, and fewer investors backing them up. And in spite of the fact that more than 50% of culinary school graduates are women, only 19% of head cooks and executive chefs in America are women, while only 33% of restaurants are majority owned by women. It's even harder for women of color. During the pandemic, Black-owned small businesses have been twice as likely to close as small businesses overall, and an estimated 41% of Black-owned small businesses closed permanently. The James Beard Foundation is investing in a more equitable future for our industry with its Food and Beverage Investment Fund for Black and Indigenous Americans. The fund just announced its first round of $15,000 grants last month. Let's meet 3 of those grantees, all of them outstanding women entrepreneurs leading the way in their communities.
My name is Shyla Shepard. I'm the owner and CEO of Bow and Arrow Brewing in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So the inspiration to start Bow and Arrow was really that it was a dream after spending nearly a decade as a social impact investor here in the Southwest. Since experiencing my first Hefeweizen in college, I've had a passion for brewing and craft beer.
Hi, my name is Melissa Guzman. I am owner of the Caribe Vegan, located in South Florida. The inspiration behind starting my business, I would have to say, when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis at the age of 28, I was desperate to get better. I realized that the root of my evil essentially was inflammation. So I looked up everything that caused inflammation, and it was animal products. So I removed all of that, went vegan. I got in the kitchen, started experimenting, and eventually I fell in love with feeding myself because it made me feel better.
My name is Dreamer Glenn, and I am the owner of Miss Prissy's in Syracuse, New York. The inspiration behind starting my business was my grandmother. I was cooking since the age of 4 years old, standing on stools, frying eggs, and she really taught me everything I know.
What makes what we do special and why it matters to me is I think it goes back to just my experience growing up on the Fort Berthold Reservation in Western North Dakota. Having a place to gather as community is really important. And also sharing what you have with others, even if you don't have a lot, is showing that you respect and you value them.
We were completely booked, I think, up until November, and our calendar had been cleaned out. You know, we had to refund a lot of money simply because even though deposits were refundable, it was the right thing to do. We didn't have any control over this, so we lost a lot of income, and we had to shift our thinking. And so what we did was we partnered with the Community Plates program and a few other not-for-profits here in Syracuse, New York, and we were able to prepare over 16,800 meals to give to our community.
When the pandemic hit and the public health orders prevented us from having a space to share that special experience with, our community members still stepped up and supported us. So we couldn't have survived this last year without them.
It's been a great challenge, very difficult, but it's also, rewarding because it just shows that if you really want something, you can travail and you can make it on the other side.
We are immensely grateful for the grant from the James Beard Foundation.
When I heard that I was initially selected for this grant, I cried like a fat baby.
And I was like, oh my goodness, so it was a welcomed surprise. I literally had to read the email like 3 times, and it was just totally unbelievable, and I was grateful.
The support from my community means the world to me, because like I said, sorry, I'm gonna get emotional because this has been hard, So to see so many people
rooting for me, just wanting to see me win. You know, it means the world to know that like me continuing to go and me continuing to push is helping other people.
Those are inspiring stories from Dreamer, Melissa, and Shyla, and we thank them for sharing with us tonight. There were many, many more applicants than grants available, so if you're in a position to give, you can help build the investment fund for Black and Indigenous Americans with donations that will go to the next round of grantees, and there's a button to donate right below this screen. And you can visit to learn more about all of the Foundation's programs. Your contributions will help shape the future of the industry and help us to build back better. We're headed into a fun section now about things our chefs love eating on the road. With 10 cities represented tonight, we're going to ask them where they want to go on future culinary journeys, and of course, what they will eat. Myself, I can't wait to bite into a burger in New York City, where I grew up, just a couple of blocks from James Beard's house, actually. They just have a taste that, try as I might, I can't duplicate. Okay, chefs, I'm writing your recommendations down. Where are we eating next? Come on, tell me.
If I could go anywhere in America, it would probably be New Orleans. I would love to go and see a bunch of friends that I haven't seen, eat a bunch of delicious food, and go and support that community.
New Orleans. I want to eat everything that they offered, Cajun, Creole, Vietnamese.
It would be Philadelphia. I've got family there that I miss very much. I would go to Dim Sum Garden and eat soup dumplings.
Hawaii. I think I'm in need of that right now for sure, and the beach. And I probably, I'm not going to lie to you, would be eating Loco Mocos like every day.
It's Austin, Texas, and I'd be eating it probably like Franklin's Barbecue.
I think I would love to go to Miami, and I'd love to eat sushi from B-Side Sushi.
Part I've never really gone to is the South, more specifically Louisiana. Kind of just hang out, eat, drink, and get full all day long.
I want to travel everywhere in America right now. There's so many places I want to visit.
Since I've never been, Maine, to eat pancakes, blueberries, lobster.
South Carolina. You have great, pigs and great, produce and all the different things.
It would be my friend Eric's son's restaurant in the Bay Area. I would eat anything he put on the plate. It could be a sea urchin. It could be a piece of Wagyu beef he's importing.
I haven't been to Chicago. I know it's a great food city and experienced some great Midwest cooking.
Chefs, your dream bites sound delectable, and I bring some good news. The Foundation's partners at American Airlines have just announced that each of you will receive 100,000 miles courtesy of American Airlines, so you can travel wherever your culinary hearts desire just as soon as you are ready for takeoff. Congrats and enjoy, and thank you, American Airlines.
Are you serious? No, are you serious?
I don't know if I heard that right. I think I heard 100,000 miles.
Are you kidding me? wait. Is this part of the thing? Are we serious? Oh.
That's incredible.
Think about traveling all day long, so thank you so much.
Okay, we promised you fun and games, and we're going to deliver. Among the bajillions of pastimes that young folks and the less than young folks have been playing to manage their stir craziness this year, there is a simple yet charming diversion called Would You Rather? We play it in the van when we're on TV shoots all the time. Here's a quick rundown of the rules. Since everyone is toggling between rocks and hard places these days, I will present a choice between two very imperfect options, and our chefs have to pick one. For example, would you rather eat pasta with your hands or ice cream with a fork? No time to ponder, just shoot from the hip. Let's see what deep truths we can uncover. Okay, chefs, here we go. Would you rather cook for a critic without knives or without salt?
I gotta say knives. Food always needs salt.
Definitely knives. I can't do anything without salt.
Would you rather give up cheese or chocolate forever?
Oh no, I would rather give up chocolate forever.
Chocolate, that's hard, but I'd give up chocolate.
I would probably rather give up chocolate. Oh, but I'd miss chocolate.
Would you rather eat one raw onion or two raw heads of garlic?
I'm gonna go with onion. Being Indian, I always eat raw onions.
Oh, garlic. Garlic's good for your heart, right? So I'm gonna go with garlic. Yeah.
2 heads of garlic? Did you say 2 heads? Oh my God. I would rather eat 2 heads of garlic.
Would you rather never cook with eggs again or never cook with butter again?
I would definitely rather never cook with eggs again if butter was going to be taken out of the scenario.
I've got to go with butter. Eggs are very versatile.
These are hard.
Would you rather be known for one incredible dish or one amazing technique?
That's a loaded question.
Oh my God. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that question. I would rather be known for one technique.
Wow, yeah, one technique. Technique lives forever, right?
Well, I'm already known for one dish, so I don't know. In the long run, I would choose technique because that is something that will influence future chefs and cooks to come.
Would you rather only eat with tongs or spatulas?
Tongs, because I think it'd be more fun.
I would rather only eat with spatulas since I don't like using tongs. I think, so I would be awkward and things would be falling out of my mouth with a spatula.
I would rather eat with tongs. It's kind of like my name.
Would you rather work with someone who forgets to close or forgets to open?
How do you forget to close?
I'd rather not work with that person.
Would you rather work a busy Saturday night with no dishwasher or no prep cook?
The dishwasher is the unsung hero of the restaurant.
I never worked a Saturday night with a prep cook, but without a dishwasher, it's the worst. So dishwasher is my number one person.
We need the dishwasher. They are the superstar.
Well, that was amazing. A lot of fun. It's hard to remember sometimes that we need to laugh in the middle of everything we're going through, but I believe laugh we must, because there is such a lot to be hopeful for. I'm not a glass half full or half empty person. I believe the glass is refillable. For the first time in a long time, independent restaurants have the eyes and ears of the public, legislators, and the press all at once. Everyone can see how important independent restaurants are to their local communities, and there is a lot of appetite for positive change. So I would say to my colleagues in the business, you have been through so much, but I believe there is plenty of light on the horizon, and if we continue to stand together, we cannot be defeated. To everyone who joined us for Taste America tonight, thank you for supporting independent restaurants and all the work the James Beard Foundation is doing to help our industry build back better so we can stay open for good. I'm going to let the chefs have the last word tonight. Good night, everyone.
I think the best way to keep small restaurants open for good is to keep tabs on them, because we're all trying to be really innovative and creative and keep things interesting for you all.
I think just going to restaurants, whether it's outdoor dining, takeout, delivery, restaurants are still trying to create a great and memorable experience.
Just frequent the restaurant. I'm not saying you need to frequent your favorite restaurant every day or even multiple times a week, but just when you do frequent the restaurant, share about it.
By just going out, getting takeout, telling your friends about stuff that you love, and supporting consistently if you can.
Keep ordering or keep visiting. Tell all your friends about restaurants.
Just come and try our food. We prepared amazing food for you to come. Please come.
We find a way to stay open. We find a way to be sustainable. The pandemic exposed that it's not a sustainable model, and we got to figure out a way to keep eating, keep sharing food with each other.
I think going through this, I've come to realize that for the future, I would like to see, restaurants putting equal amounts of effort into offering an experience of restaurants in the homes, and as well as concentrating on dine-in.
Well, I hope that we are gathering places again. I think that's what everybody really misses.
I guess I just really hope that we're able to somehow retain how restaurants contribute to the landscape of like a city or an urban place, as well as like a rural place.
My hope for the future of restaurants is a sustainable livelihood. I hope that restaurant employees are put at the forefront of this pandemic. Their lives are as important as anyone else's, and they need to have livable wages.
COVID has taught us a lot and seen the faults in our business. And I think there's a lot of strong voices that are advocating to fix those faults and make sure that we can break the cycle of what has been happening for the past, 20, 30, 40 years.
Let's keep restaurants open for good.
Let's keep restaurants open for good.
Let's keep restaurants open for good.